The Alan Cox Show
on 100.7 WMMS.
Cavaliers play tonight, 7:30 tip-off at the Romo Fijo against the Milwaukee Bucks. You can hear it here on the Buzzard. Listen on the iHeartRadio app. I was reading a thing in the Wall Street Journal this morning about how people who wear socks to bed are considered psychotic.
I was literally going to say, that's psychotic. Beat me to it.
Is it really?
That seems...
To wear your socks in bed? That just means you have cold feet. Like, what is that?
You use the blankets to keep your feet warm, not socks.
Well, here's what when I get into bed every night, my feet are freezing. And so I put my socks on, but then my feet warm up. So every morning there's 2 socks by the side of my bed because I'll take them off my feet and I'll drop them on the floor next to the bed. But if your feet are cold, they're not going to warm up immediately under the blanket. You're going to have cold feet. And I hate people my wife always runs hot, so she loves it if I put my feet on. I hate if somebody puts cold feet on me or cold hands.
Worst.
I don't want that. They think it's funny or whatever. And I'm like, I'm an easygoing guy, right? Don't put cold feet on me. I don't want it. If your feet are cold and you're trying to warm them up, put socks on. Like I do, like civilized people. Because there's always these conversations about people go, well, is it unhealthy to do it?
To wear socks to bed?
Yeah, well, because remember when you were a kid, there was that urban legend that if you were sick, you covered your feet in Vicks and then put socks on in the morning, you were all better.
That's what everyone is still telling me every time I get sick.
It's
I've never
nonsense.
done it.
No, it's silly. It's some old wives' tale, that people still believe. Because probably one guy did it and felt better the next morning. It had nothing to do with that.
They say believe women, Alan, so wives are women.
Yeah. Well, but this whole thing was if you sleep in socks, you're a psychopath, and I just thought that was strange.
I do not sleep
I don't
in
understand
socks.
where that comes from. I mean, again, like I said, once my feet warm up, the socks come off because once your feet are comfortable, it doesn't feel good. At least not for me. It doesn't feel good. But they're talking about people who wear like thick wool socks. And
I have to be really cold to sleep with socks on. And I'm a person who sleeps in a lot of clothes. Like when Brian and I first started sleeping over, early in our relationship, he sleeps in just underwear. And I will sleep in like sweatpants, t-shirt, hoodie if I'm cold. I sleep in a lot of clothes. Cannot have my socks on.
See, I would if I had my druthers, and I don't know where they went. I used to have druthers back in the day, but if I had them back, as a single man, I slept in nothing. But I have a wife and a child now, and I can't be getting up in the middle of the night if something's going on with my daughter and I'm buck naked. But we have the windows open too. So if I want to kick my foot out, it's going to make my foot cold. So there's all kind, and I toss a lot at night. I'm never one of those people
Off?
that I'm sorry?
Toss off at night?
I toss all night, Bill.
Oh.
Not tossing off.
That's why he's so tired.
I do that as soon as I wake up.
I don't
doesn't
wear
make me
socks to
tired.
bed, but I do
Well,
wear a
then-
3-piece suit to bed.
No
Freshly
socks.
pressed.
Yeah, freshly pressed.
Yeah.
There's nothing psychotic about that. He's got the tie. He's got the
fedora on.
waistcoat. Fedora. But no socks.
When I'm real serious about sleeping, I just put it over my eyes. And,
Mm-hmm. You look like someone sleeping at a baseball game in the 40s.
or on a train.
Mm-hmm. So, because everybody has their own calculus as to how to be comfortable. Because my wife runs hot, the windows are open because of that, and she has a fan on her. But I need to kind of kick my feet out. I get hot under all that, and so the window's open. But I'd never heard of anybody thinking that someone, just because they wore socks to bed, were psychotic. I mean, I'm sure that they're being hyperbolic just for social media purposes.
Well,
But
it is
nevertheless,
uncomfortable. Like you said, it's not a comfortable thing to do.
They say that they did some studies on this, the Journal of Physiological Anthropology. My subscription just lapsed, darn it. That young men fell asleep faster, slept longer, and woke up fewer if they were wearing socks. But they say that socks help lower your core temperature, and that helps you sleep.
Oh.
You're not supposed to sleep super hot. They say it's better to have things on the cooler side to keep you asleep. And so according to the Cleveland Clinic, ever heard of them?
Nope.
Chilly feet can raise your temperature by sending more blood and heat to your core areas. So, listen, I think when it comes to sleep, nobody's thinking about their health. They're just like, how can I be the most comfortable? And I'm going to do what makes me feel comfortable. And for a lot of people, like Mary, she's sleeping in a snowsuit.
Yes.
And for the rest of us, we're not sleeping in that much. Bill sleeps in a three-piece suit.
With shoes on, no socks.
Shoes on.
I don't think I sent you guys the picture. I sent Brian the picture. So the girl I'm staying with and her husband went out of town, and it was so cold the other night.
How cold was it?
61 degrees.
Oh,
Did I tell you guys that?
I think so, yeah.
That's freezing. And they have split units, and I didn't want to use it, which is like it's heat and air conditioning in the same unit. They have one in my room, but I'm like, I don't want to jack up their electricity bill, like being here. But I'm like, but I cannot. 61 degrees is insane. That is so cold. That's like your heat got cut off cold. But I was like, I can't do this. And I used that split unit for the first night, and I turned it to 83 degrees. And I was like, I slept through the entire night. It was perfect.
Alan, I believe in sweating it out when I'm sick. So last night I wore 3 hoodies, 2 pairs of pants, and 2 pairs of socks. And my girlfriend called me psychotic. I guess she's right. Well, if that's what you want to do, you want to sweat it out. You're still going to feel cold. Probably, if you're sick, under all that, still going to feel cold.
And those cold, like when you are sick and you go from like hot to cold, that's the worst. Oof.
I had
brutal.
those the week after Christmas. I had the flu. And that's always the worst symptom for me is fever chills, because it's like you're comfortable for a half hour and then your body's on fire. So then you have to take all your blankets off, and then you wake up an hour later, absolutely freezing cold. Layer back up, put a heating pad, all that. It's the worst.
Well, there are other people complaining out west in San Francisco, I guess. I was watching a blurb about how Target and Walmart stores are starting to lock up more and more things, and people are taking particular umbrage to the fact that now they're locking up underwear and socks. See, I could see doing this in places that get real cold, because people are, I would think, more likely to steal those. But in San Francisco, it is a sweater town. It never gets real hot. But underwear and socks, they have them locked. And
that's just the place where they have a ton of crime right now anyway, right?
People
they
steal
do,
stuff
but
that they need. They steal stuff that they could probably sell.
You can't sell underwear and socks.
Yes, the hell you
listen,
can.
I think you can sell anything. The trouble is, in places all over the country, good luck trying to find somebody working there to unlock what is locked for you.
There's a CVS on the corner that I've been doing a lot of my household shopping at, soaps and things. Everything is locked there. Everything. And I get it. It's New York City, but it's like the toothpaste, the body wash, the face wash, not the loofahs. The loofahs were out, but literally any type of deodorant, everything is locked behind a case. And they have like 4 or 5 people walking around at all times. Just their whole job is unlocking things.
I mean, back when people were making meth all the time, they started locking up cold medicine and matches and all kinds of crap like that. And then they slowly moved to like razor blades they would lock up. And now, because if you say, well, they lock up things people can sell, you can sell anything. So what do they determine? No, they have to be going at like their store's data and going, okay, here's the stuff that gets ripped off. So they must see people stealing underwear and socks.
I thought.
But what do you determine that you're not going to lock up then? Because people could steal everything.
I thought it was a price thing, because like none of the snacks are locked up, but all of the cleaning products are. Like, I thought it was like maybe they lock up anything over $10.
Well, for a long time, people were like stealing detergent and things like that back in the day. They would run in there, and just grab 2 handles of Tide.
Yeah.
It comes to the point like how ghetto does it look that they have to lock up the socks or whatever it is that they have under key.
If I was getting socks right now, it would be very inconvenient. I'd be very upset. I got to call somebody to come open up the counter for me to get socks.
That is crazy to know that the socks and the underwear are being put under lock. The cost will go up. Our residents will have to pay more, or they'll have to commute and travel farther to pick up their groceries, to pick up their socks, and it's really going to be hurting our community.
Commute.
Community.
He said they're going to have to commute to get their socks and their groceries.
Because they have to go someplace where it's not locked up.
Oh, I thought he said hurt our community.
Well, he did. It's going to hurt our community, but he said people are going to have to commute to get their socks and groceries.
Mm-hmm. Because they're like, I can't go to the place where you got to wait for somebody to unlock them and go somewhere else.
Yeah, well, listen, it's not a problem if there's somebody there to unlock it for you. What's going to happen is if people want stuff, they're going to steal it.
You can't get in that. I mean, it's thick plexiglass. You could.
It's just
you
like
could break
lucite. They're just gonna go in there and smash that.
If you had like a hammer, it's not glass.
No, I know it's like
it
lucite. It's like that thick. Well, what I'm saying is, as I understand it, people who want to steal things always seem to find a way around whatever the security features are. You know, back in the day, they go, well, compact disc, this brand new media format, we got to find a way people won't steal them. I know, we'll put them in long boxes that are bigger than the actual item. That way nobody will steal them because they can't get them out.
And then Jinko's like, ha-ha, too
Watch
bad.
this.
Didn't even need Jenkos. They just put them in cardboard boxes. You'd grab it, you'd fold it in half, and you'd walk out with it. Then they go, well, that's not going to work. We're experiencing a whole lot of shrinkage here at Tower Records. And so they started putting them in long plastic spines. And then people would just come in with like bolt cutters or like, tiny zip tie blades and walk out with them like that. Whatever you do, people are going to figure out how to steal it. I'm most
But
curious.
if you can cut, but you're not trying to stop all of the theft. You're trying to slow it down.
I have a feeling these stores
Shrink
and
the
companies,
shrinkage.
I bet that they would really like to stop the theft.
Yeah, but like you said,
That's not
people
gonna
are always
happen.
going to find a way to steal.
Right,
things.
but that's what
But
my question is. How do
so-
they determine what they don't lock up?
Well, by
I thought it was by
what's getting
price.
stolen. Yeah.
You might be right, but I mean, there's probably things that, are socks real expensive?
Well, and that, no.
No.
Theft is,
That's what I'm
theft
saying.
is probably a thing, and then also, maybe there's a TikTok trend that we're
Okay.
not aware of,
No,
where
but
the Zennials are stealing socks. The
Because
steal
it's
socks
because it's
challenge.
it's in places like Target, Walmart, Walgreens, things like that. They're not locking up socks at Duluth Trading Company, of course, probably because they figure everybody's in there strapped. But they're
Well-
not, and those are expensive.
Isn't San
Worth it.
Francisco like one of the worst places for homelessness right now?
It's not good. Yeah, it's real
then
bad.
maybe
So I
it's-
understand that, but
Well, I'm saying maybe it's homeless people that are trying to steal socks and underwear because they don't have any.
Yeah.
So that's why they're getting locked up there versus other places.
yeah, except the homeless people are usually not the ones that run in with masks on and bags and start filling the bags up, and the security guard just stands there. Homeless people, they'll kick the crap out of them. It's the dudes running in with the masks and the bags. They leave them alone because they're like, I don't want to get shot in the head or whatever. Homeless people, they'll kick their asses right out. You go to any city, they don't give a rat's ass about homeless people. Would those be the people most likely to need socks and underwear? Absolutely.
Well,
But
and
they're
it's
not
in
the
San
ones going
Francisco.
in ransacking stores. It's dudes piling out of a van, running in and going back out.
I went to, there's a Target and a TJ Maxx and a Burlington Coat Factory right off my train stop. And I've said this last week, I think I forgot to bring my winter items with me, like hat, scarf, gloves. And I went in there to I was told was a brand new Burlington Coat Factory. And you would think this place was just ransacked. And I was like, I don't know if maybe it just gets so much foot traffic that it's impossible to keep up with.
Yeah.
But like,
And also the employees don't care.
Well, that's the thing. Shelves were bare. There were no winter gear at all. Like, you'd be lucky to find a pair of like ski gloves. And then, regular people just shopping. But then people were just like leaving things on the ground after they would try on the shoes. They wouldn't put them back. They would just leave them on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
There was this one older foreign lady who was walking up and down the aisles screaming, "Does anyone work here? I need help.
You have to
Does
do that.
anyone work here?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever experienced.
That's
But I'm
just
like-
going to the store in the city. That's in a big city like that. That's what it's like.
There
But I'm
used to be, when I was working in the John Hancock building in Chicago, across the street, there used to be this chain called Filene's Basement. I don't know if they had them around here, but it was kind of like, I think, a precursor to TJ Maxx or whatever. And you would go in there, and it was a 2-story thing, and everything looked like it had exploded.
Yeah.
Because people would just go in, look for stuff, throw it around on the floor in another basket, whatever. I'm like, I can't imagine working here and having to try to create a semblance of order in this place.
Like Sebastian Maniscalco's bit about going to Ross dressed for less, where it's just like, I don't need this. He balls up and chucks it across the room.
Yeah, that's what it is. Rhyme or reason. I couldn't find any. I got money for you. It's $1,000 courtesy of the Buzzard bookie. Good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Credit. That's credit. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
Hey, Stripper Scott.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
What's up, man?
I figured I got in the car. I heard you talking about being cold, and Mary said your friend's apartment was, 61?
Yeah.
So let me just bounce this off. Tell you if people tell me that I'm irrational. My apartment building, it's like a radiator. It's a hot water pipe that goes through the baseboard, and they just set that in a boiler room. They leave it. If you ask them nicely, maybe they'll turn it up a couple degrees. But a new manager company took over, and there's just no one in the office, and it's just locked up with a sign that says, "Sorry, we're not here." And it's been so cold. It's 64 degrees in my building, all the time. And I have electric heater going 24/7 to try to get it to I got about up to 71 in my bedroom, and I'm like, it's just still too cold. And people tell me I'm insane because they sleep in 60-degree temperatures. I'm not the only one that think that's.
I would think that the company that Stripper Scott normally keeps, you'd want to keep it cold because it reminds the girls of the Serbian tundra from which they came.
And we'll cuddle up with you.
He doesn't have him over to his place.
He doesn't?
No.
Ever?
Goes to hotels.
Oh, it seems like an added cost.
It is.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
Okay.
Stay warm.
He spends his money on naked women, strippers, Scott.
Say what, Mary?
So my little thermostat in my room, remember
Yeah.
I was so excited to have it, and then it's friggin' set to air conditioning, so I can't make it any hotter. I can just make it colder. So the other day I was messing around with it, and I tried to bypass the settings by setting up a schedule, because I was like, oh my God, because you don't have access to everything on that thing. It's high tech. And so I was like, oh my God, I can set a schedule for every weekday that I'm in here from 1 to 7. I'll set it to 80. And then when I
Jesus.
come in, it'll be nice and warm. And that did not work. It shut the schedule off immediately.
80.
I came in and checked it yesterday, and the entire schedule was erased. So I was like, so either it worked and someone erased it, or it was like, yeah, we don't do that.
It
Nice
melted
try.
down the memory card in the thermostat. And
Yeah.
Mike
I've
and Parma,
messed-
by the way, making a good point from last segment that Mary's standalone bidet is in for a real workout with free taco day there at iHeart New York.
Oh, yeah.
And ice cream. But you're lactose intolerant. You didn't have the ice cream.
No, I didn't have the ice cream. I thought about it. I was like, worth the diarrhea? Because nothing's free in this city. But I didn't have it.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going, Alan?
Good.
Good. Hey, I was just listening in. You guys were talking about how they're locking up socks and razors and things like that. And I wanted to call in. So I used to work in loss prevention for about 10 years. I was a manager for different retailers. And the reason why they lock up a lot of the socks and underwear, especially, number one, the margins are really tight on items like that. But the bigger issue is that you've got boosters, professional shoplifters who come in and they mass steal stuff like that, specifically for flea markets. You go to any flea market and you're going to have tables and tables full of socks and underwear. Well, that stuff comes from somewhere, and it's coming from your Sam's Clubs or your places like that. That's why they're targeting those items, specifically.
How do you go from amateur to professional shoplifter?
I assume that's what you do for a living. That's all you do is you float from store to store. And a lot of times we have guys we would run into people like that who that's all they do is they travel in a tri-state region even, and they'll go around and they'll hit store after store and target specific items. A lot of times it would be socks or it would be razors. That's a big ticket. And so we would do our audits, and we would notice that we're missing a lot of this one particular item, and we'd know that we'd have to start cracking down on controls for things like that.
it's a hard situation for these companies to be in because on the one hand, they're like, look, we don't really want to pay anybody to be in here. So they're trying to cut employee costs. But the customers come in, can't find anybody to unlock items that are all locked up. And most people by now are like, screw it, I'll just get my shampoo on Amazon. They'll put it on my front door. I don't have to. So I don't know what the answer to that is because it's like, well, the answer, I guess, is these companies all start selling stuff online. But if you're trying to get people to come into your actual store, that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, with the way brick and mortar is struggling anyway, trying to compete with online, and then you've got, you're inconveniencing the customer, trying to get them to track down, some teenager who doesn't care, and he's got the keys, and it's a huge hassle. So trying to leverage, your shrink cost versus profitability and keep the lights on, it's a mess I don't want to be a part of anymore.
That's why I always think about people who have to work in loss prevention in like a home improvement store. Because if somebody's ripping off socks and underwear, that's one thing. But if somebody's ripping off something that they could kill you by hitting you with it from the store, like the store is full of hammers and saws and wrenches and screwdrivers, and you're not going to chase somebody down with it, throw a ball-peen hammer at your head on the way out. I don't know. All right, thank you, Rob.
Absolutely not. Yeah, anytime.
Thanks, pal.
See ya.
Oh, anytime. Oh, I've got him on retainer. That's a plus. I got a break here. If you want to send me a text, 35192. You can watch the show live if you like. If you want to see our shining faces, AlanCoxShow.com for all that.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go.